Now, businesses or investments. Now, which is the best? What should I go for? Guess what? If I show you my inbox on my phone, I usually get a lot of DMs, people contacting me and asking me that question. And you wonder, how do they contact you? Yes, my number is always on the description of this specific video if you'd like to contact me. Even my email is there. You can get it out and you can shoot me a call and text me. I offer those services at a personal level for just a cup of coffee's price. Now, this is a question they ask me. Hey, which one should I go for? Is it businesses or is it investment? And for God's sake, is there any difference? And by the way, sometimes people come to me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I just want to start a business because I want to do. Some people even tell me, how can I start a job? You're like, what? How can you start a job? Because you see, there's a difference between job, work, businesses, investments. All those terms mean differently. Now, the question is, which is the best? Is it businesses or is it investments? Before I tell you which one is the best, I have to ask you a very simple question. Two questions actually. Have you subscribed? How to do that? You see, down below there next to my where you see the number of subscribers that I have, depends on when you're watching this. Next to that, if you can see a button that is in black in color, you are that one kind of guys who have not subscribed to my channel. And what's the importance? First of all, it does not cost you anything. And what's the importance? Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified by the YouTube. Let's get the business now. The question number 2 is this. What is your personality? Because your personality differs from personality. Let's take a personality A and personality B. This is personality A and this is personality B. The personality A, this is an individual who is, we call them, how can I even call this? This is an individual A. There's a person who, when you give them the money, they are risk averted. Have you ever heard of somebody who is a risk averted? Is a person who doesn't love to take risks. There are people who are like, whoo, I don't want to take risk. And if I take risk, I don't want to lose my money. You see, there are people who usually have what we call the sentimental attachment. Let's just put a word here. Risk averted. For those who are good at English, by the way, is it risk averted? Does it mean like you fear risk or whatever they think it is? That's what I'm trying to drive at. Yeah? You fear risking. Risk is too risky to you. We say this is to do with risk tolerance. You cannot tolerate a lot of risk. All right? And then there's how you define somebody who, they take risk comfortably. They take risks comfortably. They take risk comfortably, okay? And then on this side, you find this person on this particular area. There are people who we say they are more of entrepreneurs. They are more entrepreneurs. Well, let's just call them investors. And I know you're like, okay, fine, but just if you use the word investor from the investment, I will explain. They're just investors. There are people, we call them the entrepreneurs. There are people who would love to, they don't want to be there like into that business, running everything, like, for a trade to happen, I must be there. I have to receive a call. I have to call somebody. I have to do the follow-up and what have you. But these are the guys who have time. They have time. They love engagement. We can say they are active. All right? The other thing, by the way, for your information, you might actually be shocked if I tell you, most of the people who we call them introverts. Are they introverts? They tend to fall under the investments. And then the extroverts, they tend to fall under the what? The businesses and what have you. But does not mean all of them. At times we can have a reverse of the thing, okay? Because nature is kind of funny. You always have a reason to justify that I'm wrong. That's what happens, okay? Now, the point is this. Now, when we say whether businesses or the investments, which one is the best? Now, this is what we want to give you an identification of what they mean. Let's put in, this is the investment. On this side, we are talking about investments, all right? And this side, we are talking about the businesses, okay? We are talking about the businesses. Now, let's first of all identify what is the difference between the two. On the investments, it is here where we say the money. Let me use the blue pen so that we can be able to see the difference as we move along. Okay, now here when you talk about the investments, we say the money works for you. Money works for you. Now, what do I mean? For example, if you invest in something like circles, if you invest into stocks, money market fund, or capital markets, unit trust, whatever the thing, bond fund, equity fund, balance fund. By the way, those are topics that I'm going to make videos about. Equity, I know you have never heard of me talking about them. Equity fund, balance fund, and what we call the bond fund. Say you put money into those areas. For those who have bought shares, when last did you make a call to that company? For those who have money market fund, when last did you make a call to follow up? You do nothing. When you buy those things, you just relax. You do nothing. You don't make calls, you don't do nothing. Guess what is happening? The money is working for you. It's like when you go to a shoe shiner, You just sit on that place, you just maybe read your gazette or your whatever. It's not a gazette, what do you call them? The newspaper and what have you, or, from your phone. And the money is working for you. Somebody's shining your shoe. That's what we do in investment, okay? Exactly doing that. Now, what happens is that on the investment is money working for you. When you go to the business side, this is when we say it is you working for money, right? This is active engagement. No, this is passive engagement, and this is what? Passive engagement. What does it mean? You don't have to be there. Let's say maybe you have some other jobs that you're doing. You can actually go ahead and, no, what am I doing? Yeah, this is passive, this is active engagement. This is active engagement, okay? Now, that means actively means that you must be there, you must be available. You can actually get yourself into self-employment. That is a business. It's when you're doing normal things that we know. You're doing in restaurants, you're into logistics, you're into, all those are those are businesses. When you talk about those things like bills, bonds, MMF, and what have you, we're talking about the passive income you're doing. So you're passively engaged. It's only when you're doing the transaction, when you're sending money to them, at that particular point we say, hey, guess what is happening? You're actually earning your money passively. And then the other thing we say, they have what? They have low returns. That's very true. They have low returns. And guess what happens here? They have high returns. They have high returns. Before you make a conclusion, be like, hey, I would like to go where they have high returns. Hang on a second. Hang on. We got the point number 4, which kind of relates to the previous point. They have high. They have what we call low risks. All right. And this one have a what? A high risks. So anything that has high risks has high returns. So before you even jump into, hey, I want high returns, because I know probably everyone, including me, would love to have high returns. I mean, isn't we? So then it means like, if you want to go with the high returns, then you have to accommodate the fact that you have to do the high risks. For example, let me throw an idea to you. Let's say maybe you want to invest your money into something like rentals or real estate. And let's give an example. I'm going to use an example of Kenya. Let's say you want to build like 7 one-bedroom or 6 one or 7 thereabout. You go buy yourself a property. Maybe a property goes for 2 million, and then you buy, maybe it will cost you around 4 or 5 million. Let's say it costs you like 5 million. So a total of 7 million. You go ahead and buy a property and you invest 7 million. Gives you like, let's say, an average of 7 one-bedrooms, okay? 7 one-bedroom, 1 unit, it means that you maybe say you rent it at around, say, 8,000. So you have 7 of them. So it's 8,000 times 7. That is 56,000 at the end of the month. And how much have you invested? 7 million. So what if then you were to take that amount of money, 7 million, and go and buy yourself a matatu? A matatu in Kenya is a public transport. Maybe you buy a minibus that maybe for 42 guys or something of sort. Those matatus in Kenya, they kind of make like 10 Gs or 10,000 per day. 10,000 per day. So then if you go by that, let's say even they give you an average, let's say maybe they give you a half of that, 5,000. Let's say half of the other half goes for those guys, the drivers, the conductors, the circles, the police, the insurances, whatever. Let's say per day makes you 5,000, and those are the repairs. You have half, so you get the half. So the 5,000 per month for the 30 days, that gives you like 150,000. That's like 3 times or close to 3 times of what the investment is giving you. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes, you don't have to kind of do follow-ups like actively, like, hey, what clients and what or tenants, no. But this one has actually, that a business, that's not an investment, getting to the matatu business or the public transport business. And this guy who is into the real estate investment, this guy is making 150,000. I mean, this guy is making 50,000 or 56,000 or thereabout. Let's just call it 50 because of the other overheads, yeah, and this guy is actually making 150,000. So you find both of them, they have invested, both of them, they have actually subjected 7 million into a go, but they are getting different returns. But before you celebrate, oh, it's making high money, what if an accident happens? You don't have a car. But if you compare the risk of building the rentals, unless there is a flooding, unless maybe you bought a land from a riparian land, or maybe a road reserve and the government is there reclaiming the land, or maybe, I mean, the risks involved on this particular end, it is so minimal compared to the other. I'm not saying there are no risks. Because even don't want even to think about those things. But you can just imagine if you build your rent, so the kind of a risk that you can gauge. Maybe probably you bought a land that is not yours, or maybe you are those kind of things. But the other side, so you see, there is an area where you're actively engaged. But when you run yourself a matatu, can you just compare person A and B? One who is running a public transport business, and the one is who is into the investment. Compare the rate at which their funds is active. The guy who is running a what do you call the public transport? The guy is there actively making calls. Where are you? What are you doing? Hey, is everything okay? Are we doing okay? All those kinds of the follow-ups and what have you, because that is an active engagement. That is a business. Now, I know the question. Yes, I know about to answer the question, which is the best to do that specific thing. I would say we don't have the ultimate thing that you can say, hey, this one is the best, this one is not the best. When we say the best, it simply means you're trying to assume the fact that we have something that caters for everything. Why? It has low risk, it has high returns, my money is safe. We don't have anything like that. It depends. If you want to go the low risk way, you pick it up the low risk way. If you want to go the high risk way and the high returns way, you pick that one. Now, what do? These different types of engagements, they fulfill different goals. So the point you should ask yourself is this: how can I get both of them at the same time? I know the money that is on the investment, it is actually safe and secured, especially you speak that language towards your retirement. Because I always tell you, we create wealth by specialization and we safeguard it by diversification. That is exactly what we do. You start by specializing in one specific thing. It's like getting somebody who runs a very successful hardware. It is not wise to end up with the hardware alone at the rest of your life. What you do, as much as now you're getting a good cash flow from your business, is good to channel that money towards something like a real estate, that is a hard asset, some properties. You can get into things like rentals and what have you. So now, because now you're minimizing, it's not giving you like high returns from what you get from the business, but at least it's minimizing the chances of it, sort of disappearing, because the more you grow old, the less active you become. Therefore, it means now you have to create a system or a structure. By the time now your active life is going down to a point whereby you are regarded as not active, therefore the money now is working for you. The problem that people do is that you're actively engaged, you're not bringing up the active life here, so the passive life here. So by the time now you're at your climax in terms of the active life, now you start to go down. There's nothing coming up here to support you. You come down to a point whereby now you turn around and start focusing on your children. Hey, do me this one, or support me on this, do the other thing, and all those kind of things. So it is good to make sure that at all the time you're actively engaged, and as well you're pulling up the basket of the passive income, so that at least you can do something. Now, the ultimate question, it is not which one is the best. At what rate should I get into this? If you're starting up, focus on how you can grow the money. If you have like 20 or 30,000 somewhere, and like you're looking forward into having some cash, look forward and how you can be able to engage into that, into the into the businesses, how you can multiply and grow the money. Once you get a substantive amount of money, then you can turn on the other side of the investment. Because I always tell people, for you to make a good amount of money from the investment point, you either leverage on two things. And I always repeat this, and let me repeat it again. You either leverage on time, longer period of time with less amount of money, or you leverage on the amount. Put a huge chunk of cash in a short period of time, you're gonna catch up with the guy who did that for a long time. Okay, so that is exactly what you're supposed to consider when making a decision on those specific areas. For now, it's a goodbye, but don't forget, leave me a comment section. All right, what thing would you like me to talk about? Did you get all the information? And if you did, then just tell me in the comment section. Yes, I did. If you just tell me that, I will know what you mean. And for now, it's a goodbye. Don't forget to leave that like button out there. And by the way, share this video to your groups. Tell them, hey, take a look. Share that link, let them watch, let them understand, because this information we want them provided when we were learning, when we were in high school, when we were in university, when we were in college, whatever the place that you have been, we were never shared this information to ourselves. So it is good to make sure that at least let's try the best that we can to make sure that we change our communities by having this thing called the financial understanding, the financial literacy, because it can transform our lives. Even if we will never make the world a better place, at least let's make our pockets. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.